Tutorial 5, Gunslinger. Let's have a bit of fun with a cowboy. Usual ingredients, blue pencil, red pencil, lovely B graphite pencil. And let's start with our grid. We're always starting with a grid on the tutorials. Makes our life an awful lot easier. So we'll start with the baseline. We'll start with the top line. And we'll split this whole section into 3 different sections and give it a vertical line down the middle, as we always do, just to give us an idea of where we're going on this. Now we're going to draw Extreme Wild West today, so it's going to have a very exaggerated line of action. This obviously is our centre line, so the line of action of this character, he will be leaning forward, will be a very accentuated and exaggerated pose with obviously a severe line of action. So there's our line of action. This top section here is going to be the head. Now the head, I'm going to have the head sort of like obviously tilted in this sort of manner. It's sort of slightly tilted back because he's obviously staring at an imaginary opponent. Well, it's not imaginary to him, but it's imaginary to us because the opponent's out of shot. But this is the head in the first section. The second section is going to comprise of, well, splitting this second section up, it's going to comprise of a circle that is going to just join on to that oval and meet that halfway section. And then this is going to be the baseline of the body, so we're going to do a slightly larger circle and obviously overlap this middle circle to form the overall shape of the body. Now you can see the body is leaning forward now. It's leaning forward with this head that is on a sort of slightly tilted back kind of approach. I'm going to split this last section at the bottom here in half because we're going to get straight on with the legs here, because I know this guy is on a very wide wheelbase and his legs are pretty much apart. So I'm going to spur off the first leg down to this midway line, and this midway line is going to be round about where the guy's knees are. So that leg is sort of like banded and he's on a half back step here because he's ready to move. So there's the first leg and boot, just filling our way with that. Going to the other side, the other leg would spur out of here. The knee would be once again on the same level. The leg just tucking back slightly, and once again on that half boot at the back. So we've got a good idea now of the actual stance of this character, and we can see that he's actually leaning forward and into his opponent. Just join the head to the body there with this little neck. This here is obviously going to be the armpit, and I'm going to have the arm coming out here. The hand is going to be here. I'm going to just for the moment put a grid pointing upwards to actually plot where the palm of the hand is going to be, which is going to be there. This hand is going to be ready to go for this gun, which is going to be on a holster on his leg here. So I'm going to put the holster there. He's going to have 2 6 guns, so I'm going to put the other holster here. Right, so we've got basically most of it plotted with regards to the pose. The other arm you wouldn't necessarily see because both of the arms are going to be behind the body. So what we would see would be an indication of the hand, which would be round about here. So just for the moment, let's put a circle in here, just overlapping this first circle, just round about here, to just indicate roughly where the other hand is. All will become clearer as we go along, but we've got the hub of this character laid out. I'm going to give that a very flat base here. Up to the head. This first section here I'm going to split once again into 3 sections. Roughly 3 sections. It doesn't have to be exactly 3 sections, it has to be roughly 3 sections. So 1, 2 and 3. This first line here will be the base line of the hat. I'm going to put in a very, very rough 3/4 line, because this is the attitude of the head looking slightly 3/4. This here would be an eye. So, and you'd probably have the other eye round about there. So for the minute I'm going to just put in the eye and this bag under the eye. The other eye's there, but that's neither here nor there. It's just an indication of showing you the attitude of the character as he's looking out of shot. Because in the middle of here is going to be his nose. We're going to come outwards here. We're coming out of this oval shape. This is going to be the nose, and it's going to fold in here and hook round about here. It's going to flare, and this is going to be one of his jowls. Now all of a sudden you can see how we're structuring outside of this oval. Everything has got a meaning to it now. The mouth is coming inwards, and this guy's going to be gritting his teeth. So I'm going to have this kind of, there's the bottom lip. There's the bottom lip. So now you can see roughly he's gritting his teeth. This guy's really angry. He doesn't like being called out, especially if he's in the saloon. So let's give him a protruding chin here. You can see now we've actually defied this whole oval here, and we've come outside of it, we've gone inside of it, and we're working contours on the face of our character. Where this jowl is, I'm just going to put a little circle, a little shape around it to give it a little bit more of a contour. Here on the edge of your oval, this is going to be his ear, which is going to be lying under the brim of his hat. And I'm going to give him, there you go, a jawline that's going to join onto that chin. I can then very roughly on this baseline here put in, there you go, there's his hat. And it's sort of a bit of a half Stetson with a hat band there, which I'll put some little studs in. Working our way down, a lot of cowboys, they had neckerchiefs, which were like these scarves around their neck. So where his neck is here, I'm going to go just behind his shoulder, and I'm going to pull down here a rather large they used to put these round their necks if they were riding their horses and it was a sandstorm or something. They would put them over their faces to stop all the sand getting in their mouths and up their nose and whatever. And if they were an outlaw, they would put it over their face and rob a bank so that they wouldn't be able to tell what they looked like. Here is the top of the arm coming out from the armpit. I'm going to put, actually, well, let's put a halfway or a mid section on this cowboy here, which is obviously, this was the original shape of his body underneath that we're looking at. And now I'm going to put his gun belt on him. There's his gun belt, and there's going to be where the buckle is on his gun belt. Okay, we'll put a waistcoat on him, because a lot of cowboys did have waistcoats. And I'm going to have his shirt just sort of overlapping his gun belt there, and give the whole thing a few contours and give it a few shapes. The hand, okay, here we go, we'll do it with the red pencil so you can see exactly what's going on here. There's the thumb that's coming off of the, round about where the palm of the hand is. This first finger, the index finger, which spurs off of the thumb, is going to be bent. The second, I'm going to have 3 fingers on the thumb to make life a little bit easier for everybody. The second finger is going to be bent too, slightly lower, and the third finger I'm going to have as a pinky, because what he's doing, if he were animated, he would be waggling his fingers, getting ready to pounce on this 6 gun that's in his holster. And that's all you need to show of the gun. There you go. That's the trigger. And the other gun would be obscured by the other side of his body anyway. This hand here, you would only see a thumb and maybe the first index finger and a little bit of an indication of the second finger, so I haven't got to worry too much about that. And I would also have his sleeves rolled up, because he wouldn't want anything to encumber his hands while he's obviously going to draw his 6 guns. Put in a couple of creases in his shirt just to make it look a little bit more interesting. So we've got a general makeup now of our gunslinger. Let's go in now with the graphite pencil and start with the hat. Let's work from the top to the bottom now. And here's the brim of the hat. Let's go up now to give him this kind of, I don't know, what is it, half Stetson. I'm going to put a little bit of the lovely thing about drawing with these B pencils is you can texture this with your finger as well. It's lovely. Let's put the studs in his hatband. There's the hatband. I always like to give a nice little white highlight. Throw a few white highlights in every now and again. Just makes things look more interesting. There you go. And then we've got the nose coming round. Let's give that a flared nostril there. That's it. A little shadow underneath the nose, coming down to this very tight-lipped cowboy that's, oh, he's got real attitude, this guy. He's really had his cage rattled. And that little indication of the teeth where he's gritting them. The chin. That jowl that's been accentuated by that little bit of skin. And the ear, and most importantly the eye with this very weathered look underneath it, and these little beady eyes that are so full of concentration. A little bit of stubble on this guy, a little bit of a shadow over the brim of that hat. And he's also, for concentration, he's chewing a match. Let's get onto this neckerchief, putting the finite detail in it now. There's the neck, there we go. All the way up to the knot behind the shoulder. There you go. A little bit of shading there. Let's go down, creases in the shirt. Let's put a couple of buttons on the waistcoat. The belt buckle. And the shirt hanging out. Actually, I'm going to have a little bit of baggy belt buckle just coming out there. A bit of shading on there. There we go. And then down to these very sort of baggy trousers with this very low wheelbase with, let's put some creases in these trousers. And finally, let's put the baseline in. Nice heavy holding shadow. And there we have it. Well, actually, no, we don't have it because I've got to put a little bit of hair on him. So we'll put a little bit of hair in here. He's going to be very, very... Well, he needs a haircut, this guy, but I don't care. He's a gunslinger. He can have long hair. There you go. Gunslinger. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed.